What it do, Panthers Nation? Welcome to Two Fans in the Stands. I'm Tony,
And I'm CJ.
and today we're going to discuss the recent hires by the Carolina Panthers. Now, CJ, the Panthers
Come
have
on
made
with
a
it.
whole lot of they hey, listen, they went grocery shopping this week. They went grocery
Hey,
shopping this week.
look, wherever everybody's watching this from, if you know about Sam's Club, and you know you go to Walmart, you get things. You go to Sam's Club, you get everything in bulk. All right. So the
Right,
Panthers done went to Sam's Club, and
right.
let me tell you, they came out with a receipt, this long, and
Hey,
instead of getting
listen.
10 Pop-Tarts in the box, they got 47 of them. So
There were some items. There were some items on the grocery list. I was wondering, whether they're gonna be able to pick it up at the store. Now they didn't. You know how you go into a store
mhm.
and your thought is to get one or two things. You come out with a whole buggy full.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's what the Panthers pulled off this week. But I tell you what, out of those coaching hires that the Panthers made this week, who will
Mhm.
be your top three coaching hires that intrigues you the most?
All right, let's pull it up here.
Okay,
And this
all
is the
right,
Panther site, and this is the current coaching staff minus D'Angelo Hall, who was also added. So that I'm gonna just go down. All right, we're gonna start with Frank Wright. Everybody know, and it's
okay.
funny. I keep hearing Frank Wright, Frank Rich, Frank Rick. He gonna get all kind of damn names. But all right, our latest, well, actually not the latest, but a second to latest. Hi, Thomas Brown is the offensive coordinator. James Campen, offensive line coach. Parks Frazier, passing game coordinator. Sean Jefferson, wide receivers coach. Robert Kugler, assistant offensive
Right.
line coach. Josh McCown, quarterbacks. Deuce Staley, assistant head coach, running backs coach. So we go to the defense. We have Ejiro Evero, defensive coordinator. Dom Capers, senior defensive assistant. Jonathan Cooley, secondary/cornerbacks coach. Peter Hansen, linebackers coach. Tim Lubaku, outside linebackers coach. Todd Wash,
Lukabu,
defense.
Lukabu,
Hmm?
Tim
What I say?
Lukabu, Lubaku.
Ooh, my bad. Lukabu. I'm sorry. I mixed my K and my B up. My bad.
Okay, well, okay,
Um,
Wakanda.
Tim Lukabu, outside linebackers coach. Hey, you shut up. Todd Wash, defensive line coach, and Bert Watts. And it does this. Hold on. What is Bert's Watt?
Bert is going to be
Safeties
coaching the
coach.
safeties. Yes,
Yeah, safeties coach.
yes.
Okay, and then special teams we have Chris Tabor and Devin Fitzsimmons. Okay,
Right.
so that is the entire coaching staff minus D'Angelo Hall. D'Angelo Hall is going to be assistant secondary coach, and we
Yes.
all know the battles that him and Steve Smith Sr. had back in the day, especially when he played for
Hmm.
Atlanta. So that ought to
Exactly.
be real interesting. This is really turning into a one hell of a coaching staff. I must say. But to get back to your question, the three that really intrigue me, one is going to be the offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown. Two is
Okay.
going to be the quarterbacks coach, Josh McCown, and somebody that I forgot all the way down here at the bottom, Jim Caldwell. He is the senior assistant, and he's going to be
Yes.
helping out with offense, defense, and special teams. Okay.
Right.
And
Right.
I picked Caldwell because, like I keep saying in these videos, one thing that the Panthers have this year is experience. Okay. You are
Yes.
not going to catch the Panthers with their pants down this year. That is the plan. And from what this coaching staff looks like, there's too much experience, too many years in too many different coaching positions for them not to be ready for stuff that they should be ready for. Let me say that. Okay.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
The stuff that they should be ready for, they should be good and ready for this year. Okay.
Game
So
management should not be a problem.
should not be a problem. Yes,
Right.
exactly. If we get down in those situations, I think we are hopefully we will do what is necessary and what should be done in a in a,
Right.
in a timely manner, and things will be used the way they're supposed to be used. Okay. like time management, timeouts, challenges, all that good stuff. All right.
Right. Right.
Um, my next one, Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, and we talked a little bit before we started. This one really didn't, it was a lot of buildup to this offensive coordinator hiring. Okay, it was a lot of buildup because the Eagles lost their offensive coordinator, and who was the quarterbacks coach that we were looking at? I forgot his name.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson. Okay. So
Right.
I'm assuming that he's going to be elevated to their offensive coordinator because at first I was thinking, okay, well, when the reports came out that Steichen, I think his name, went to the
Yeah.
Colts, I was like,
Right.
okay, well, Johnson he's probably not coming here. So they
Right.
got Thomas Brown. Now Thomas Brown has been on the Coach McVay staff out there in LA, and he was the assistant head coach. And they say
Right.
he knew McVay's offense like the back of his hand. So we'll see. You know, I like the hire. You know, young guy. Got to see what he can do because this is his first offensive coordinator job in the NFL.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so we'll see what he can do. But my thought is that with him being the hire, I'm leaning more towards thinking that Frank Wright is going to be the one calling the plays.
He took the words right out of my mouth. That's
Yeah,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah.
Yes.
I think with this hire, Wright is going to be the one calling the plays. Okay,
While grooming Thomas Brown.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. I don't think Wright calling the plays is going to be a long term thing because um if Tepper goes back to his days in Pittsburgh, and I mean, we can count
Right.
on one hand the number of coaches that have been in Pittsburgh. So,
Right.
hopefully Frank Wright is in for the long haul, and he admitted that he definitely made a mistake in hiring a CEO type head coach with Matt Rule because
Yeah.
he had a lot of power that he shouldn't have had.
Right.
So
Right.
with that, I think Tepper has learned. So hopefully Frank Reich is here for the long haul. And like you said, this should be more of a hopefully this is a hire that Reich is going to call the plays and Thomas Brown is getting groomed, and hopefully sooner than later, Brown will be calling the plays, and it'll go back to normal per se. All right,
Right.
but yeah, I will say when I heard the name, I was like, oh, I was like, okay, because with all this buildup, I was really expecting like some really big name or some big time just splash, and when you hear it, everybody was like, oh, him, like, oh, okay. I'm not even gonna lie, I
Right.
really had to look this guy up. So, but
Right.
yeah, my last person that I you know think would be crucial is a Josh McCown. Okay. Now,
Okay.
he has a plethora of experience, 17 years playing in the NFL. He was on the Panthers roster at one point some years ago too. But he's been all around the league. He's seen a lot of stuff. One thing that we know he can do, if nothing else, he can show these quarterbacks how to last. You get what I'm saying? He can show them what staying power is. No, but but I think that him and the offensive coordinator and Frank Wright working together to groom whatever quarterback we get. And I'll say this: whether we pick up a quarterback in free agency, whether we draft one, um, it's never a time where you can't learn something. You know,
Right.
a person that says they can't learn anything else is just a stubborn person who just
Right.
doesn't want to be bothered. Okay,
Right.
so it's going to be interesting. I think those three spots out of the hires, those three for me kind of stood out the most.
Right. Right.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, one was definitely Thomas Brown. I know you said you had to do some research on him. I remember Thomas Brown because Thomas Brown played running back at Georgia.
Georgia.
Matter
Yep.
of fact, he was in the backfield when Matthew Stafford was the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 3-year starter at Georgia. and if I'm not mistaken, led Georgia in rushing
2 years.
2 years in a row. So as far as he's new when it comes to coaching, the coaching experience, but he has that player's mentality. And I say that because he's a former player and he's not far removed from playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he got into the coaching circle early, started building up his resume over the course of time, has developed into a hot commodity,
Mm-hmm.
for himself.
Yeah.
And this is a golden opportunity for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him take it and run with it. I don't think it's not one of those he's a young coordinator, so he has
Mm-hmm.
nothing but time. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not like he's 55, 60 years old and this is his last go around. He trying to make the best of it. He has
Yeah.
time to learn under some great tutelage. Not only Frank Wright with his
Yeah.
experience as quarterback and coaching experience in the league, not only with Josh McCown with his 17 years playing the quarterback position, but
Mm-hmm.
also with Jim Caldwell as being the
Yeah.
overseer. Like that's a whole lot of knowledge and experience to tap into. And that's why I'm a
Mm-hmm.
firm believer in whoever the quarterback is, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Sam Darnold coming back, whoever the quarterback is, they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have a plethora of knowledge from an offensive standpoint, not only from offense standpoint, but from the quarterback position through the
Yeah.
lens, through the eyes of a quarterback.
Exactly.
They're going to get all that knowledge, and it's not going to just be from one particular player. You got Frank Wright, former quarterback, Josh McCown's former quarterback,
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell. I don't know if you want to call him a quarterback guru or quarterback whisperer, but he has worked with some pretty good
Yeah.
quarterbacks at his time in the NFL.
And he was
So
a former offensive coordinator too, right?
yeah, and if
Mm-hmm.
people remember, before he even got into the league, Jim Caldwell was the head coach at Wake Forest.
That's right. He sure was. Yep.
That's where he came from. Before he got into the league, he was the coach at Wake Forest. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Thomas Brown definitely, and I love
Uh-oh.
the wide receiver coach Sean Jefferson.
Yeah, buddy.
We haven't had a decent wide receiver coach since Ricky Prohl. When Ricky Prohl decided to leave, and whatever his reasons were for stepping away
Yeah.
from the game or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
our our wide receiver position hasn't really been the same. And
I give you that.
I think a lot of that is based off of who was running the quarterback room. Will you really with the not the quarterback room, I'm sorry, the
Wide
wide
receiver
receivers
room.
room, and with the wide receivers really getting they full
Schooled.
potential pulled out of them, and were they
Mm-hmm.
being fed the proper knowledge going forward? Not just the basics of what you need to do in and out of breaks and staying low and all
Mm-hmm.
this and all that. I'm talking about truly knowing how to play the game, whether you the
Yeah.
X receiver, the wide receiver, or the Z receiver.
Yeah.
Someone that can help you break it down position by position and know what they're looking for. Sean
Yeah.
Jefferson is a great hire. He was a great NFL wide receiver, 13
13
years in the
years.
league, yeah, 17 years coaching, and he's also the
Mm-hmm.
father of Van Jefferson that plays for the Rams.
Oh, did not know that.
Yes, yes, Van Jefferson is his son. So
Okay.
he definitely has the bloodlines, by, by him being a former player and now his son playing in the league, and there's been small talk. I'm gonna say small talk of a
Mm-hmm.
possibility of the Panthers going after Van Jefferson in free agency. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is his third or fourth year with the
Mm-hmm.
Rams. He was a former second round pick of the Rams,
Okay.
so that can be a possibility. And my third pick, which was the surprise pick to me, was D'Angelo Hall. I
Mm.
would have said Coach Evero, but then when I saw the D'Angelo Hall pit thing, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And immediately, of course, we know Deuce Staley has been on the staff for the past couple weeks, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
been formally announced. But when you look at this coaching staff, you
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of former players,
Yeah.
a lot of former players, and it puts me in the mind of what Dan Campbell is building or did his first year in Detroit. A
Yeah.
lot of the players were former players. When
Mm-hmm.
you talk about he had Deuce Staley there, then he had Aaron Glenn, who was his defensive coordinator, and I
Yeah.
forgot who the offense coordinator was, but it was just like he had all former players at the position, and I think that that's a good thing because you have someone that can relate to these players. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that
Yeah.
have played the positions that they're currently playing, guys that are going through what they already been through on and
Yeah.
off the field. I think that's very important when you trying to build a culture a certain way, and when
Yeah.
you're talking about establishing relationships and things of that nature going forward with these players, because who's better to talk to or better to explain to them the do's and don'ts and the pitfalls to avoid than someone that has already been where they're trying where they're trying to go and where they're
Mm-hmm.
currently at.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
I love that. One, a lot of these coaches have NFL experience, not only playing but
Mm-hmm.
coaching as well. And I like
Yeah.
the diversity in the coaching staff. It ain't
Yeah.
just
It's
all
it's
white.
there.
It isn't
It's
just
definitely
all
there.
black. It's really a mixture. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that our offensive and defense coordinator are both African Americans, I love that. And they're
Same here.
young
Same
guys.
here.
They're
Yeah.
young. So those three, in my opinion, stood out the most to me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, it's really going to be interesting because I just I'm always going to have I always want to have hope. I don't always want to, scream to the high heavens with it because for me, 9 times out of 10, when I get a really good feeling about the Panthers and I say, "Oh yes, we're gonna come out, we're gonna kick ass and take names," it's always the other way around. So
Right,
I'm
right.
trying to, in a sense, curb my excitement, you know, just a little bit because we rubber hasn't met the road yet, and we all know that that's when you figure out what this team is going to be like. But I mean, looking at this coaching staff, starting with Frank Wright, going down to offense, defense, special teams, and you got Jim Caldwell as a senior assistant. Like I said, one thing this coaching staff does not like is experience. And they have experience on the
Exactly.
field. They have experience on the sidelines. So yeah, this ought to be really interesting. Really, really, really interesting.
And for a bonus, I love the fact that they retain James Campen. I love that. I'm
Man, who you
glad
telling?
he did not go
Who you
anywhere.
telling? Mm,
I love that. I was so scared. I was like, is he going to leave? Is this going to be a 1 year and done type of thing? Like, what's going to happen with Campen and Chris Tabor,
Tabor.
right? I'm like, come on, man, we gotta retain somebody. If there was anybody on the coaching staff besides Wilkes that you would want to see
Mm-hmm.
retain, I wanted to see James Campen and Chris Tabor. And
Hey,
the
let
guys the
me.
guys smiled down on me, right?
Hey, look. Let me tell you. Somebody got together at the church and they said, Father God, we come to you today. Our Panthers, they're dumb.
Shaking the
Eh,
tambourine.
Yeah, shaking Tim, they're dumb. They don't always make the best decisions. So we come to you like these two. Please keep them and let the staff get
Right,
built.
right, right. Do
So
something.
how they always say, somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I did a whole lot of praying when it came to keeping James Campen, because
Listen,
that
this
offensive line hasn't looked like that since our Super Bowl year, minus the atrocity that happened in the Super Bowl.
right, exactly. But
Yeah.
this coaching staff, I mean, you can see just on paper, because we don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it's going to gel, what it's going to look like until it's time for that to happen. But just
Yeah.
on paper, man, like you'd be hard pressed to say anything negative about this coaching staff. Like you have to really and truly be a hater
Mm-hmm.
to go
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, on
That's
on paper, the ink was happy to get come out that printer. Yeah. The ink
yeah.
was happy to
So
get put on this paper here.
I'm excited, man. Now I'm just waiting to see. Hey, just wait for the other shoe to drop, and I think that next shoe is going to be what's going to happen in free agency. Then you
Mm-hmm.
got the draft coming up, and
Yeah.
then after that, OTAs and mini camps and all that, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, like I said
Yeah. No.
before, as time goes on, we're going to start seeing things being put together, start seeing little pieces fall into place here and there. That kind
Yes.
of that's kind of going to give us an idea what direction that we're headed in, headed into,
Mm-hmm.
um, and get a clearer picture. Hopefully, we get a
Yeah.
clear picture by the end of the draft.
I think we're already headed in the right direction, and
Right.
the first, we going up a staircase, and the first step, the first step was the coaching staff. I think that
Not
was
the
a great
stairway to
first step.
heaven.
Yeah.
Is it the stairway to
Well,
heaven?
hopefully it's a stairway to Super Bowl. It's a stairway to Lombardi Trophy. I don't want
Right,
to go to
right.
heaven just yet. I hope to be there, but way out.
Hey, but that's the holy grail right there. You get that Lombardi trophy. That's the
Yeah,
holy
man.
grail right there. So,
Yeah, hey, look, just
hey,
one. All you need is one, and your name is in the record books for here to
in my
forever.
lifetime, in my
Yes,
lifetime,
yes,
please,
exactly. Yeah, in my lifetime, you got
please,
that right. Yeah, but like, hey, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a great first
yes,
step, and let's just hope that as we keep climbing this staircase, the steps keep getting better and better. So, we'll
yeah.
we'll see. But you got
I'm with
anything
you
else
on
you
that.
want to say about the coaching staff before we get out?
No, man, that's it. I think that right now, Scott Fitterer, David Tepper have done an awesome job thus far. With hiring Frank Wright, allowing Frank Wright to go out and get, you know, the coaches that he need, and
Hmm.
providing him with the necessary resources and stuff to go out and get the what he deems the best of the best, and we'll see how
Yep.
it all comes together.
Hey, I agree. I agree. But Panther Nation, that's it for this episode where we took a look at the Panthers coaching staff. Again, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this video and haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit that like button, share, let everybody know that we're just two fans in the stands. We don't know everything, but we're going to talk about it all. Okay.
Already.
So already. But on that note, Panther Nation, keep pounding.